Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas decision in 1954. And we have with us to talk about this decision that was rendered some 50 years ago this month, the attorney in Nashville, Tennessee, Attorney Julian Blackshear. And of course, Attorney Blackshear, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Pleasure to be here.
And to tell you how delighted we are to have you and to talk about what we consider to be a very, very important issue. As we said, that the decision of Brown versus the Board of Education will be in May of this 2004. And what we wanted to do is to start off this show by having what we would consider a general celebration during the month of May of this very, very important and historic decision. And so within that framework, let us have you to give us some information about your background, your education, and how you became involved in civil rights and the law, and then we'll get into Brown versus the Board of Education, Topeka, Kansas.
Okay. Well, I was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee, reared in that city, and educated in the public schools of that city. My mother was an educator, Howard High School for 50-odd years, taught just about everybody there. And I graduated from Morehouse College in 1963 with a BA degree in political science and enrolled at the University of Tennessee College of Law the fall of that same year. I was eventually drafted out of the law school after completing my first year and served a tour of duty in Vietnam. Actually spent 15 months. And when I got out, I went right back to law school and graduated in 1 year. And I received my law degree in 1970 and practiced law here in Nashville, Tennessee on the auspices of Avon Williams for 4.5 years. And I went out and engaged in private practice of law with Carlton Petway, and we were partners for 17 years until his death. I am now a senior member of the firm of Smith, Hirsch, Blackshear and Harris, professional limited liability company with 11 attorneys in One Vantage Way in Nashville, Tennessee, and we have a branch office in Bordeaux and Quorum Financial Center with 2 attorneys staffed there. And I'm the managing partner of that firm, and I engage in the general practice of civil litigation. And I have a son who practices law with me, who having graduated from Cornell Law School. He's been here for about 3 years, but he's been practicing law for about 7, 5 of which was in Boston, Massachusetts. So, and that's it.
Very good. And you know, Attorney Blackshear, let's start off by talking about Brown versus the Board of Education 1954 by having you to simply give us sort of a summary of what this decision was all about and the impact that it had, and then we'll come back during the second segment to deal more specifically with that decision.
Well, in summary fashion, Brown versus Board of Education simply concluded that segregation in the public school system affects the hearts and minds of young black children in a way unlikely ever to be undone. And as a consequence, equal educational opportunities and separate but equal oxymorons. It's a contradiction of terms, and you can't have one without the other. So in order for there to be equal educational opportunities, the doctrine of separate but equal fell on its own weight, and it was overruled. And that's in summary fashion. Now, it's a lot more involved in terms of the legal foundation that was established, some legal theories in cases that precede Brown versus Board of Education that were established by the Supreme Court with the prodding and persuasive argument of a Thurgood Marshall and Charlie Houston at Howard University. And if it wasn't for these line of cases, the Supreme Court would not have been in an intellectual posture by which it would have been capable of ruling in the way in which they did in Brown versus Board of Education. So Brown versus Board of Education, as a decision, owes its thanks and gratitude to this one case that precedes it, and that is Sweat versus Painter.
You know, before